Okay, so we are going to pick up on page 213. And we left off Genesis 39 last week, and we are at the paragraph where it says, surely the steward's eyebrows were pinned. So, Minister Sharon, you're going to start there.
You want me to start with the question?
No.
Okay, go down to Shirley.
Yes.
Surely the steward's eyebrows were pinned to his headline as Joseph issued his orders. Nevertheless, he obeyed them. The brothers were horrified by the accusation and made a harsh oath in verse 9. You want me to read that?
Yeah, go ahead. That's right.
In 39 or 40?
39.
39. Verse 9, he is not greater in this house than I am, nor has he kept anything from me except you. For you are, that's 39?
Oh yeah, that's going back.
So let me finish reading.
Okay, go ahead.
The brothers were horrified by the accusation and made a rash oath in verse 9 that would have proved deadly. Thankfully, Joseph's intent was not to kill Benjamin, but to keep him. Imagine the terror that shot through their souls when the silver cup was discovered in the beloved son's belongings.
Yeah, so it's 44. 44. 44. So where we left off was, when was it? Remember how we were saying that Joseph had been accused before? And so in 39, we went back to when Joseph was accused by Potiphar's wife. So that's where we left off. And verse 9 was referencing the what the brothers said, the oath. So that's, turn with me to Genesis 44, verse 9. If you find his cup with any one of us, let that one die. That was bold. And all the rest of us will be your master's slave forever. Forever. So why? Because they knew, he knew they didn't have it, right? So if you know you didn't do something, they could say anything they want to. I didn't do it.
I agree. I agree. Why would you flip to what they say if you know what you did was right and not wrong?
But how many people are innocent but make an oath to their innocence, knowing that they're innocent, but then there's evidence of them being guilty? And
well, there's a lot of people in jail like that too. They're innocent, but they got proved guilty.
Yeah. So right here, he was basically saying that he was basically a death penalty. Like if I got this, or anybody got this, they were betting their lives on it. That's why, unless it's like, there's not even no plus. Just don't make these type of no. Yeah, you can't even make an oath in God's name to God. You can't swear.
No.
Yeah, just because sometimes it's a setup, and in this case, it was a setup.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what
Okay,
came to my mind, Pastor, as you were talking, I said, okay, I guess back in that day, they couldn't, the terminology that would be used today is, I've been framed. I've been framed. But I
yeah,
guess, because they knew vividly that they hadn't done it, that, hey, this charge you're bringing, we know we didn't take that cup. So
yeah,
that's why they were able to stand and say, make that statement. But then when the cup was found, wait a minute, I know we didn't put this cup in our bag.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And there's actually times when people are framed and they pit one against the other. And then it's
Yeah.
like, well, who do I trust? Because it's like, no, I know this person and this person wouldn't do that. But then they did that. At least the evidence said they did that.
Exactly.
And what I have learned is to give people the benefit of the doubt. And it's like, but you see the evidence. But there are so many liars. Yeah. 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 Liars, manipulators, because when
Yeah.
people want what they want, they bring confusion. And the example that I would give is, even today, I get a call and all this confusion. I'm like, why? Because people want what they want. And the person said, things have never been better organized and ran smoother. But what are you going to do about this made up stuff? What? Yes, just stirring up the pot. And oftentimes it's just to upset you.
Yeah.
And for years and years, I would let that kind of stuff upset me and get distracted. Oh my goodness. And now I just start dancing and moving around like, hey, I see your trick now. When things are going smooth, watch for the ones who come and bring the tea, the juice.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
the gossip.
Yes, and stay away from gossipers. They are swift to cause confusion and chaos.
Yep, and love to do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You just talk about locking doors.
It was just a question that came up in my mind. Because I guess because I've lived in Miami a lot, and even in my apartment, I would check and I only went out of one door. And I would check that door several times before I went to sleep. Yeah. And I do it in the house here. I have a garage, and I lock my car in the garage. I'm not looking for nobody to do anything. I guess that's just one of those things.
Habit.
Yes. Because I'll be in the bed. I got 10 locks. I got 10 locks. I got 2 to the front door, 4 to the front door, 4 to the back door, and each door has 2 locks.
Yeah.
Each door has 2 locks.
Yeah. It's just interesting that as we mentioned, stirring stuff up. You may not, I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but as I mentioned, stirring stuff up, you can hear somebody arguing outside.
Mm.
right now. It's just, and it's like, you know what? Just go ahead and lock that
I know that's right. I know that's right.
door. Yeah. Because there's just, there has to be that protection over your spirit, you know, and even when there's accusations or things that rise up to come to keep to get you off focus,
Right,
you have to stay on target.
right.
We we and I don't know if they will, well, I'll share that on Sunday. I'll share it another time, not Sunday, but I'll share it another time. But there's always an accuser of the brother.
Yeah.
Yep.
Always.
Yeah.
And in this case, it was literally an accuser of the brothers.
Mm.
And so how did the brothers demonstrate their grief in verse 13 of 44?
They tore off their clothes. They was why did this happen again? And tearing off their clothes. And then they went back to the city after they had this fit.
Yeah, oh yeah, I like the way they had a fit because it's not right. It happened once before.
Exactly. And they could not believe it. They didn't act on it the first time, but now, okay, they had a fit.
Yeah, like how could this happen again?
Yes.
And it's easy to get enraged when things don't, when certain things happen. And but there is a thing where it amazes me when Jesus was accused and he kept silent.
And they said, let it be on them his blood. Unto this day, yes. Let his blood be on them.
Yeah, because that's mighty.
Yeah.
Because you would think that the rage and being upset is powerful, but if you want to find real power, is to be able to be in a situation and have self-control.
Oh, yes, Lord. And that don't happen too many times.
No, I mean being out of control and then having a popping. What did they say when you have an aneurysm? No, I mean people will be so upset they fall out, yelling and screaming, having an aneurysm. So they were so in grief. But it I would be upset for real.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Can you continue reading?
I hope you noted the significance of their return to the city. They would not forsake Benjamin. They would face his accuser as one, all for one and one for all.
Yes.
Does this sound like Jacob's sons to you?
No.
Shall we go into that before I finish reading? Now keep reading.
Yeah. Does this sound like Jacob's sons, the ones who would leave the brothers behind?
Exactly, not them boys that threw him in the pit and sold him. No, that didn't. No, that didn't sound like them brothers at all.
Like if one is going back, we all going back.
Exactly.
If one's gonna die, we all gonna die. If one's gonna be in slavery, we all gonna be in slavery.
But now, why does this second situation come up where they say one for all for one?
Well, for one thing, they knew they knew they couldn't go back to their daddy.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Say
exactly.
That.
Say it
They
again.
knew they couldn't go back without Benjamin.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly.
And they had already been through the daddy suffering, the missing of a son, all them years. And you thought, and they were I can't even think of the word, but they thought they saw how their daddy was when Joseph was gone, or Jacob, or whoever it was, Joseph was gone.
Yeah.
He was not the same man. He was not the same daddy. And
Right.
those brothers had to go through all those years. So now
Mhm.
here come Benjamin. Now we can't do this again. We cannot go through this again.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
even when they had to go back and tell their dad, hey, they wants the youngest brother. And the dad, he was kind of leery. Hey, that's my youngest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This was like you can get the mic. This was like the thing that we could do anything but this.
That's
Mm.
right. That's right. These Benjamin, they all would have stayed in Egypt.
They all, because they know their life would have ended.
Mm.
Yes. I was looking at verse 15. If you look at how Joseph word his words, and Joseph said unto them, what deed is this that ye have done? It's like he rubbed it in
Yeah.
because he knew that they didn't know who he was. They didn't, but then Joseph knew them. And so he is saying to them, what deed?
He was speaking to their inner guilt.
Yes.
It's like, what sin have you committed?
Yes.
He wasn't really speaking about the stolen item. He was speaking about putting him in the pit.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was rubbing it in. He said, what deed have you done? Well, and so he was working on their inner feelings and their heart or what they have done. What, like he says, what deed have you done?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Because you gotta be guilty. And imagine being transformed, but then somebody speaking to the old.
Speaking to the old.
Listen, you might as well say, "Oh man, you don't have no place here. You don't have no authority here. I am you, and whatever you could have trapped me with back then, it doesn't work right now."
Yeah.
All right, continue on.
Beloved, we must pause and not miss the change creeping over this fragile band of brothers. The emerging solidarity among these splintered siblings can't be overemphasized. I'd like to suggest that from God's perspective, solidarity was the point of their 20-year ordeal. In a very short time, the entire people of Israel will come to Egypt and remain for 400 years. Though we have difficulty reasoning how this mass transit from Canaan to Egypt fit into the sovereign plan of God, we know that it did because he prophesied it when he first cut covenant with Abraham in Genesis 15:6-13. It says, and God said to Abram, know positively that your descendants will be strangers dwelling in temporary residence in a land that is not theirs, Egypt, and they will be slaves there and will be afflicted and opposed for 400 years. And it says fulfilled in Exodus 12:40. That's what my Bible says.
Okay. Subsequently, what was the prophecy in Genesis 15:13? Let's go there. 15:13. Uh-huh.
And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land of not theirs,
Right.
and shall serve them they shall not make them 400 years.
So here, this is not the time, because we know this was not 400 years, but there was a time that was 400 years. So it did come to pass. All right, so we're on 2:14. If someone else could read
We know
the mic, the mic.
We know God referred to Egypt because history played out just as he said it would be. It would in the land of Pharaohs. Give careful consideration to this point. Centuries passed between the end of the patriarchal narrative and the beginning of the book of Exodus. Yet the people of God retained their solidarity and identity. Look ahead to Exodus 1 and verse 9.
Okay, so at any point, you see that they were able to go back and forth from Canaan to Egypt. But at any point, they could have forgotten the God that they served. At any point, they could have, and at some point, they did marry and intermarry with others. And we talked about that when we were talking about Ezra and Nehemiah. But in general, they remember who their Lord, the Lord their God is. So what does Exodus 1 verse 9 say?
These are the names of the sons of Israel who came into Egypt with Jacob and with his household. And they named all them brothers: Reuben, Simon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher. Oh, I read them down to verse 5. I'm sorry. I just saw all the names.
9. Okay. Yeah, you got chapter 1 verse 9.
And he said unto the only people of children are more and mightier than we. That's Exodus 1:9.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that, look, the people of Israel are more in mighty.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You read the wrong one.
No worries. Well, they did come. So you read the wrong one, but it was the right order. Because it confirmed that, hey, they came, they saw, they conquered, and they multiplied. Yeah. So it came a point that Egypt was great, and here they were like, these people are more than us. But remember when Jacob and the crew and Abraham and the crew were going through, they were not great in might. They were just a family.
Yes.
Yeah. What are God's people called in this verse, in Exodus 1, verse 9? So they went from a family. What are they called in Exodus 1:9?
Israelites.
That's what your version said, Minister Sharon?
It says, he said to his people, behold, the Israelites are too many and too mighty for us, and they are outnumbered in both in people and in strength.
Okay.
They wasn't calling them nothing else because they Israelites and they got it from Israel, the name Israel.
So they were becoming, they had become a nation.
Yes.
Okay. All right. You can read on for me, please.
How easily they could have been swallowed up by the powerful Egyptian empire, yet they emerged as a people completely distinguishable from the nation surrounding them. I'd like to gently suggest that one reason they held on to their distinct identity and solidarity was oppression, because a worldly society that fully accepts God's peculiar people also invite their integration. You and I tend to think that best things for believers in Christ is to be surrendered by a friendly society. That is not necessarily true. Had Egypt remained friendly to the sons of Jacob, the tribes would likely have been absorbed into Egypt's pagan culture, which is true.
Absolutely. So if there's no difference between us and the others, we become like the others. Because when you are not the majority, the majority wants to suck you in and do group think, group speak. And just for example, how many of you guys had one of those yellow jugs in your house back in the day?
What's a yellow jug?
They had a mustard colored jug that we had at the house.
You mean like a milk jug?
No, like you poured juice jug. People had, if you look at it, if I had a picture, I would show you. But people had similar glass jars, similar appliances, similar television screen. A lot of things were similar, and you would think that, oh no, we were the only ones that had this. But as you go to somebody's house, you're like, oh yeah, we had that. Oh yeah, we had that. That's because a lot of things are, as much as we think we're unique, we actually become similar in style and different things, saying the people who grow up together in a certain community, you'll know where they grew up based on their accent, the way they dress, the way they do certain things, and say, oh yeah, you went to Northwestern, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, I did. Class of 66, okay?
All I knew was I pressed the button and
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
yeah, you did. So after a while, it's one of those things, you have commonality, and
Yes,
it
yes.
becomes normal.
Mhm.
So it's, people want to connect, and if I said, oh, that's a sports fan.
Yeah.
I don't know what team that is, but
Me neither,
I
but
was
I
trying
know.
to think of it too.
yeah. I'm not
Which
into
one?
sports. Okay. Yeah, I'm not into sports, so I have no commonality there. But those who know, they know. Okay? And
But
those who don't,
that's an Indian thing. So one of them teams was with Indians, but they
The
Indians don't
Seminoles,
know.
the
So that's what
Seminoles.
that was.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have no clue what team that is. But however, if I'm at a football game and they're singing that thing, I move my hand like that. Why? Because that's what the group is doing. So, however, if I'm at a Northwestern game, as a Viking, I better be on the right side.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. True that, true that.
I better be on the right side. Otherwise, it's not gonna be pretty. So that's a lot of it. That although they're different, you have to have a group that's massive enough, and they grew large enough to say, no, we are different. We are the Bulls, and then we are the Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in this case, they're like, well, they are bigger than us. And they saw it. We're talking about school rivalry, but here they recognize, yeah, so they've outnumbered us. So let us get together with somebody else. And that's what they did. They constantly were partnering up with other groups just to come at the Israelites because they knew they were outnumbered.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, then
And so,
Goshen must have been a big piece of land if they was outnumbering the Egyptians.
so, but the thing about it is when you just become like everybody else, you start fighting wrong battles.
Yeah, because you're taking up what they behind
Yeah,
them, following them.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then people and things, it's like then enemies that don't even belong to you are now yours.
So, didn't even know there was an enemy.
Yeah. It's like, no, we gotta fight together. But why? We're outnumbered. So they're not bothering us. But that's what cliques do.
True,
Thank
true.
God I wasn't ever in a clique.
Amen.
The person is right there, so what can we fight you for?
Yeah.
And you're the person they said, this is a private thing.
Yeah.
What private thing? Because
They said don't this is what's gonna happen. You're coming with me, don't ask no questions. Yeah, God, no, we're not. All right, so we're gonna stop here for the night and pick up.
Okay, where we stopping at? Where we stopping at so I can mark it? We on 214 still?